Losses aren't symmetrical. A 50% loss doesn't require a 50% gain to recover. It requires 100%. And that's the math most traders don't understand until it's too late. They think losing and gaining are mirror images. They're not. Losses compound differently than gains. And the deeper you go into drawdown, the harder it becomes to climb back out. Not just harder, exponentially harder. This is why capital preservation is rule number one. Because once you lose it, getting it back isn't a matter of reversing the trade. It's a matter of surviving long enough to double what's left. Here's the math. You start with $10,000. You lose 10%. You're at $9,000. To get back to $10,000, you don't need a 10% gain. You need 11%. Because you're calculating the gain on 9,000, not 10. It's not dramatic yet, but it's not symmetrical. Now you lose 20%. You're at 8,000. To recover, you need a 25% gain. Lose 30%, you need 43% to recover. Lose 50%, you need 100%. Lose 80%, you need 400%. The asymmetry isn't linear. It's exponential. And the deeper the drawdown, the more impossible recovery becomes. Most traders don't plan for this. They think if I just make back what I lost, I'm even. But that's not how percentages work. If you're down 50%, making back 50% on what's left still leaves you down 25% from where you started. You lost 5,000. You gained 2,500. You're still down 2,500. The math only cares about the base you're calculating from. And once that base shrinks, every percentage point you need to recover gets harder. This is why drawdowns destroy compounding. Compounding works when you're growing a stable base. But when you lose 30, 40, 50%, you're not compounding, you're surviving, and survival mode doesn't build wealth. It rebuilds what you already had. You make 20% a year for 3 years. You grow from 10,000 to 17,000. Then you lose 40%. You're back to 10,000. You just erased 3 years of gains. And now you need 38% just to get back to where you were. That's not compounding. That's damage control. Protecting capital matters more than chasing gains. What's an acceptable drawdown? Professional traders target less than 10%. Some won't tolerate more than 5%. Retail traders often accept 20, 30, 40% before they realize there's a problem. By then, recovery is brutal. Down 40%, you need 67% to recover. That could take years. Down 50%, you need 100%. That's not a recovery plan. That's a prayer. The acceptable drawdown is one you can recover from without destroying your compounding or psychology. For most traders, that's 10 to 15% max. Beyond that, you're not managing risk. You're hoping you survive. Set a maximum drawdown limit before you start trading. 10% is conservative. 15% if you're aggressive. When you hit that limit, stop. Not reduce size. Stop. Evaluate what went wrong. Fix the problem. Don't resume until you've identified why the drawdown happened and how you'll prevent it next time. Continuing to trade in a deep drawdown doesn't fix the problem. It makes it worse. You're trading emotionally, trying to make it back fast. Fast recovery attempts almost always lead to bigger losses. The math is already against you. Don't add desperation to the equation. Drawdowns also destroy psychology. A 10% loss feels manageable. A 30% loss changes how you see every trade. You start thinking about recovery instead of process. You press. You skip rules. You take trades you shouldn't. And all of that comes from not understanding the math. If you understood that 30% down requires 43% up, you'd protect that capital like your life depended on it. Because mathematically, it does. Once you're down 50%, you're in a hole most traders never climb out of. Capital preservation isn't about being scared. It's about understanding asymmetry. Losing is easy, recovering is hard. The math proves it. A 20% loss needs 25% gain. A 50% loss needs 100%. An 80% loss needs 400%. Losses compound against you faster than gains compound for you. If you don't build your risk management around that reality, you'll hit a drawdown that ends your trading career. Not because you're bad, because the math made recovery impossible. Protect your capital, limit your drawdowns. Getting back to break even after a deep loss isn't about working harder. It's about surviving long enough for the math to work in your favor. And that only happens if you have enough capital left to compound.